My pastor buried me alive to renew his power. My name is Gift. I am 18 years old and I am an orphan. I lost my parents when I was still very young, and from that day, my life changed forever. My parents were my everything. They were the only people who made me feel safe in this world. My father was a hardworking man, and my mother was the kind of woman that would share food with neighbors, even when we didn't have much. We weren't the richest family, but we had peace. I was still in school then, still dreaming like every other girl, believing my future would be bright. Then one day, my parents attended a wedding ceremony in another town. They promised they would come back that same evening. My mother even told me, "Gift, when we return, we will buy you what you need for school." I was so happy. I waited. I kept looking outside. I kept checking the time. But night came, and they didn't return. I started feeling uneasy. My chest was heavy. Something didn't feel right. Then later that night, people came to our house. Their faces were pale. Their voices were shaking. They said my parents had an accident on their way back. A ghastly accident. I couldn't understand it. I didn't want to understand it. I screamed until my throat became sore. I cried until my eyes were swollen. I kept saying it was a lie, but it wasn't. It was real. My parents were gone, just like that. My world ended in one night. At their burial, I stood there like a shadow. I watched them lower my parents into the ground, and I felt like they were burying my whole future with them. After that burial, I thought my family members would stand by me. I thought my uncles would protect me because I was just a girl with nobody else. But I was wrong. Very wrong. Immediately after my parents died, my uncles started coming around our house. At first, I thought they came to mourn and comfort me, but their actions showed something else. They sat in my father's sitting room like they owned the place. They started checking my father's documents. They started making phone calls. They started moving things around. They started acting like my father's death was a business opportunity. Then one evening, they called me and sat me down. I still remember how cold their faces looked. One of them cleared his throat and said, "Gift, you are a girl child. You have no entitlement to your parents' wealth." I stared at him, confused. I asked, "What do you mean?" Another one replied, "Everything belongs to us. The house, the company, everything. You are not a boy." My heart started beating fast. I told them, "But this is my father's house. Where will I go?" That was when the oldest uncle looked at me and said something that destroyed me. He said, "You are bad luck. Since you were born, nothing good has happened. Your parents died because of you." Bad luck. That was the name they gave me. They blamed me for my parents' death. They turned me into a curse in their mouths. Before I could even recover from the shock, they began to take everything. They took my father's company. They took the cars. They took money. They packed valuables. They even took my mother's clothes and jewelry. They didn't leave me anything, not even my school books. Then that same night, they told me to leave. They drove me out like a dog. I begged, I cried. I held onto the gate and pleaded with them. I told them I had nowhere to go. But they didn't care. They pushed me away and locked the gate. I stood outside in the dark, holding a small nylon bag with just one dress inside. I was shaking. Not just because of the cold, but because of fear. That night, I became homeless. I started walking without direction. I didn't know where to go. I didn't have friends. I didn't have money. I didn't even have food. I walked until my legs became weak. Then I saw an uncompleted building and entered. It was dirty, empty, and scary. There were no windows. The floor was hard. The smell of dust filled my nose. I sat on the ground and hugged myself. That was where I slept. That night, mosquitoes feasted on my body. Rats ran around. I kept waking up in fear. I cried silently, covering my mouth so nobody would hear me. I looked up at the dark ceiling and asked God, "Why me?" I was only 18. I didn't deserve this, but life didn't care. Morning came, and hunger woke me up. I had no choice. I had to survive. I wiped my tears, stood up, and went out to hustle. From that day, my life became a struggle. I dropped out of school because there was nobody to pay my fees. My uniform became useless. My books became memories. Every morning, I would wake up from that uncompleted building with body pains, dirty clothes, and a heavy heart. Sometimes I would look at other girls my age walking to school with their bags, laughing and pressing their phones, and I would feel something tear inside me. Not because I hated them, but because I wished I still had a normal life. I wished my parents were still alive. I wished I still had someone to call me my daughter with love. But wishes don't feed a hungry stomach. Hunger is a wicked thing. It doesn't allow you to sit and cry for too long. So I started hustling. I started hawking fruits in different seasons. When mango season came, I sold mangoes. I would carry a tray on my head from morning till evening, shouting, "Fine mango, sweet mango." My neck would ache, my legs would swell, but I kept moving. When orange season came, I sold oranges and tangerines. Sometimes I sold bananas, pineapples, pawpaw, watermelon, coconut, guava, and even African pear when it was available. I sold anything that could put small money in my hand. If fruits didn't sell, I would carry pure water in a nylon bag and enter the market. "Pure water, cold pure water," I would shout until my voice became rough. Some days I made small profit. Some days I returned with nothing. And when I returned with nothing, I would sleep with hunger. I would drink water and tell myself it was food. There were nights my stomach would be turning like someone was twisting my intestines. I would lie down and press my belly, praying for sleep to come quickly so I wouldn't feel the pain. Sometimes rain would fall heavily, and I would be soaked from head to toe because I had nowhere to hide. I would stand under a shop shade with other traders, and they would look at me like I was a beggar. Some would insult me. Some would push me away. Some would say, "Small girl, leave here. You are disturbing customers." I was treated like I didn't matter. The worst part was the way some men looked at me. They looked at me like I was cheap because I was alone. They would try to touch my waist when I passed. Some would hold my hand and refuse to let go. Some would say, "If you follow me, I will help you." I knew what they meant. I knew they didn't want to help me. They wanted to use me. So I ran from them. I avoided lonely corners. I avoided staying late. But even with all my carefulness, fear followed me like shadow. One day, I was selling oranges near a bus stop when a man grabbed my tray and tried to drag me behind a kiosk. I screamed and struggled. People looked, but nobody moved at first. It was one woman that shouted, "Leave her!" before the man finally released me. My body was shaking. My oranges scattered on the ground. Some people even stepped on them. That day, I sat down and cried like a child. Not because of the oranges, but because I realized something painful. In this world, if you have no family, people can do anything to you. Nobody will fight for you. Nobody will protect you. You will just be surviving by luck. I kept asking myself, God, are you seeing me? I was tired. I was exhausted. I felt like life had rejected me completely, but I still didn't give up because deep inside me, I believed my parents didn't give birth to me for nothing. I believed my life must have meaning. So I continued hustling. I continued walking long distances with my tray. I continued smiling at customers even when my heart was breaking. Then one evening after a very stressful day, I was walking back to that uncompleted building. My feet were dragging. My body was weak. I was hungry and dizzy. As I was passing through a street, I heard music, soft worship music, the kind of song that makes your heart feel calm. I stopped and looked around. That was when I saw it, a church. The lights were on. People were inside. I stood outside, listening. The song was saying something about God remembering the forgotten. I don't know why, but my eyes filled with tears immediately. It felt like the song was talking to me directly. I stood there for a long time, listening like someone that had found water in a desert. Then a woman came out and saw me. She looked at my dirty clothes and my tired face. She asked gently, "My dear, are you okay?" I tried to pretend I was fine, but my voice failed me. The tears came out on their own. I told her, "I have nowhere to sleep." The woman held my hand and said, "Come inside." That was how I entered that church. That night they gave me food, real food, warm food. I ate slowly, like I was afraid the food would disappear. My body relaxed for the first time in a long time. Then the pastor came out. The whole atmosphere changed immediately. People stood up quickly, some bowed their heads, some rushed to greet him like he was a king. I could tell he was not just an ordinary pastor. He was the kind of man people feared and respected. He was tall, well-dressed, and his voice was calm but heavy, like someone used to being obeyed. He walked slowly to where I was sitting and looked at me closely. His eyes stayed on my face for a long time, like he was studying me. Then he asked, "My daughter, what is your name?" My throat was dry, but I answered softly, "My name is Gift, sir." He nodded slowly and said, "Gift, God has brought you here for a reason." Those words entered my heart like comfort. He asked me where my parents were. I swallowed hard and told him the truth. I told him how I lost them in an accident. I told him how my uncles took everything and threw me out because I was a girl. I told him how they called me bad luck. I told him how I started sleeping in an uncompleted building and hawking fruits just to survive. As I spoke, tears were rolling down my cheeks. I was ashamed, but I couldn't stop. The pastor sighed and shook his head like he was pained by my story. He said, "This is wickedness. This is not the will of God for you." He turned to the church members and said, "We cannot abandon this child. She will stay here. God will use her as a testimony." People murmured, "Amen." In that moment, I felt like heaven opened for me. The pastor told one of the women to take me to a small room behind the church where I could sleep. It wasn't a fine room, it was just a little space, with a mat and some old curtains. But to me, it was a palace. It was better than sleeping with rats and mosquitoes. That night, I lay down on the mat and cried. Not because I was sad, but because I finally felt safe. I whispered, "God, thank you." I slept deeply for the first time in a long time. The next morning, I woke up early and started helping around the church. I swept the compound. I cleaned the chairs. I washed toilets. I did everything gladly because I felt like I had been rescued. The pastor would sometimes call me and ask if I had eaten. Sometimes he would give me small money and tell me to buy something. He would say, "Gift, don't worry. Your life will change. God will surprise you." Each time he spoke like that, hope would rise inside me again. I started attending all church programs, morning prayers, evening service, night vigil. I was always there. I became very committed because I believed God would use this church to restore my life. The pastor would also pray for me often. He would lay hands on my head and declare things. "You will not suffer again. You will not die young. Your enemies will not triumph over you." People would clap. Some women would hug me and say, "Gift, you are lucky. Papa loves you." At first, I was happy. But after some weeks, something started feeling strange. The pastor began to call me into his office too often. Sometimes he would say, "Come, let me counsel you." At first, I thought it was normal, but the way he looked at me sometimes made my body uncomfortable. It wasn't the look of a father. It was something else, something I couldn't explain. One day, after church, he called me and locked the office door behind me. My heart skipped. I asked nervously, "Sir, why did you lock the door?" He smiled and said, "My daughter, relax. I am your spiritual father." He started talking about destiny and spiritual battles. He said I had a strong star. He said my uncles were fighting me spiritually. He said my blessings were being monitored. He said there were forces that wanted to waste my life. I was scared, but I believed him because I didn't know anything about spiritual things. Then he said something that confused me. He said, "Gift, you are special. God will use you to renew this ministry." Renew the ministry? I didn't understand. I just nodded. He continued, "You must obey me completely, because I am the one God sent to guide you." I said, "Yes, sir." He smiled again, but that smile didn't reach his eyes. After that day, I started noticing more strange things. Sometimes I would wake up at night and hear footsteps near my small room. When I opened my eyes, everywhere would be quiet again. Sometimes I would hear the pastor praying late at night in a strange tone, not like normal prayer. It sounded like chanting. It sounded like someone making demands. I would sit up on my mat and listen with fear. Then I would cover my ears and pray silently. One evening, I overheard two church women whispering. One said, "This pastor is not ordinary." The other replied, "Keep quiet. Do you want trouble?" My heart started beating fast. I wanted to ask questions, but I was afraid. I told myself, maybe I was just overthinking. After all, this man helped me. This church fed me. This church gave me shelter. Where else would I go? So I stayed. But deep inside me, something was warning me. Watch out for part 2. Please like, share, subscribe, and comment part 2 below to see how this evil pastor killed me completely.